merong dalawang paraan para makapag-collect ng data, para makapag-acquire ng knowledge. Ito yung natural sciences at saka social sciences. Scientific process kasi hindi ito feeling lang. No? Merong proseso para ma-determine natin kung ang inaaral ba natin ay knowledge talaga. Sabi ni Collins and Makowski, ang social science daw ay nakatingin sa mga bagay na we are taking for granted o yung mga bagay na lingid sa ating kaalaman na tungkol sa kultura ng grupo ng tao, no? Na maaring malayo sa atin o malayo na yung panahon mula sa atin kasi maaring isang grupo lang ng tao yung pinag-uusapan natin sa social science pero maaring magkaiba sila ng panahon, no? Halimbawa, ang Pilipino ngayon at ang Pilipino noon ay magkaiba. Actually, hindi natin alam kung ano ba talaga ang buhay ng bawat isang individual, no? Diyan ako focus sa social science, sa paano ba maging police, paano ba maging teacher, paano ba maging nanay, maging leader, maging student, at iba pa. Maliban dun sa particular na mga buhay na nabanggit ko kanina, no? Ano ginagampanan ng isang tao yung role niya? Na katutok din ang social science sa mga pangkalagayan na may kinalaman yung iba't ibang bansa. O in other words, world events. Isa sa focus ng social science or social sciences ay why and how people behave in such a way as if they are following invisible rules. Isa sa tinitingnan ng social sciences ay yung social facts. No? Paano na-establish yung social facts, paano to nag-appear, and paano to nagiging basihan sa pagkilos o behavior ng bawat tao. Pero ano nga ba yung social facts? Sabi ni Bukve noong 2019, ang social facts daw ay yung mga parte na gumagawa ng rules na ginagawang basihan ng tao sa kanyang pagkilos at sa kanyang ugali. In English, social facts are the parts that form the rules on how to act and behave in the social life. For Durkheim, social facts are the institutions, norms, and values outside the individual but constraints the individual. Hindi galing sa individual, no? Galing siya sa labas niya. Tapos kinokontrol nung mga yan, yung norms, yung values and institutions. Nakokontrol niya or nako-constraint niya yung kilos ng mga tao sa kanyang pamumuhay sa lipunan. Halimbawa po, merong isang tao na ang kilos niya kakaiba, no? Pwede natin sabihin na irrational siya. Pero mauunawaan natin bakit siya kumikilos ng ganun kung titingnan natin yung kanyang background, kung ano ba yung context na kinabibilangan niya, kasi yun yung magsasabi kung bakit siya nagkakaganon. Hindi naman talaga natin ma-access yung intention at saka motibo ng isang tao, pero pwede natin makita yon, ma-interpret, hindi exactly, at least ma-interpret kung paano siya mag-isip kung titingnan natin yung frame of understanding niya at paano ito nagre-react sa outside world. Dahil dyan, masasabi natin na ang isang individual is nabuo dahil sa kanyang paligid na siya nire-represent niya lang o pine-present niya ng uli yung kanyang paligid. Hindi talaga siya yun. Now, dahil sa lahat ng mga yan, masasabi natin na ang social science or social sciences is a major field that uses society as the subject of its study. The most essential learning competency that we want to do today is to differentiate the nature and function of social science disciplines with the natural sciences and humanities. Ngayon, ano ba yung social sciences? Ang social sciences ay human knowledge that deals with all aspects of human life. So it includes the fields such as the anthropology, demography, economics, geography, history, political science, psychology, sociology, etc. Sa natural science naman, a science that deals with the natural environment where the humans are living in. No? So, ano pinagkaiba nila? Yung pinag-uusapan doon sa social sciences, yung tao mismo, paano siya namumuhay sa buhay niya, at yung natural science naman, kung saan nakatira itong mga tao na to. Ang mga disciplines na kabilang sa natural science is astronomy, biology, chemistry, geology, and physics. Ano naman yung humanities? Ang humanities ay parang social science din. Kaso its primary concern is expressing spiritual and aesthetic values and to discover the meaning of life. It also focuses on feelings and emotions. No? So, mga literarya, no? Literature, music, art, and philosophy. Ngayon, alamin naman natin ano ang kinalaman ng social science sa social studies. Well, according to National Council for Social Studies, social studies is the integrated study of social science and humanities to promote civic competencies. It includes disciplines such as anthropology, archaeology, economics, geography, history, law, philosophy, political science, psychology, religion, sociology, and other disciplines necessary and other necessary content from the natural sciences and humanities. Ano naman ngayon kung aaralin natin yung mga disciplines na yan? Sabi ng National Council for Social Studies, the purpose of which is to help the next generation to be informed and have rational decisions for the public good para makatulong pa rin sa lipunan. Lipunang iba-iba ang kultura, magkakaugnay, at demokratiko. That is according to Schneider noong 1994. Sabi naman ni Viadero noong 1992, unifying this range of areas will help students to become well-rounded citizens. According to Schneider and others in 1994, the 10 themes that form the framework for the social studies is the standards are 1. Culture, 2. Time continuity and change, people, places, and environments for number 3, 4. Individual development and identity, individuals, groups, and institutions, in power, authority, and governance. For number 7, production, distribution, and consumption. 8, science, technology, and society. 9, global connections. And lastly, civic ideals and practices. Una sa culture, ano bang kahalagahan? Bakit sinama sa 10 themes that form the frameworks of social studies tong culture? Kasi it gives us the idea on what makes different cultures common o ano yung commonality doon sa iba't ibang kultura. Sunod, pinapakita nito yung paano ba yung iba't ibang belief systems nakakaapekto doon sa ibang parte ng culture. Halimbawa, yung paano na-i-impluwensyahan ng church yung decisions ng government o yung political decisions. Pangatlo, it analyzes how culture change. Bakit ba nagbabago-bago yung kultura? At pang-apat, tinuturo ng framework na yan, yung culture, yung pagkakaiba-iba ng kultura. Doon naman sa time continuity and change, pinakikita nito yung yung knowledge tungkol sa ating nakaraan, yung ating kasaysayan. At ano yung kinalalagyan natin ngayon sa panahon na to? Nasaan tayo sa parte ng kasaysayan? Siyempre, binibigyan tayo nito ng sense of identity at connection sa nakaraan. At bakit nagbabago yung ngayon mula dun sa nakaraan. Doon na tayo sa pangatlo, yung people, places, and the environment. No? It gives students the spatial and geographic knowledge about them and the world. No? Kasi when we say spatial, it pertains to space. Nasaan ka ngayon? Nasa anong environment ka? Identify the locations and why they are in such a way they are now. Bakit sila nandun? The third importance of which is it gives us information what are regions and the natural environment and the changes in its landscape. And lastly, kasama to sa lesson natin sa week 5 ng quarter 2 yung how the environment affects the people and people how the people affects the environment. Now, for the individual development and identity, it invites the student to ask how people learn. Bakit nga ba natuto tong taong to? Sunod, it helps the student to identify why people behave in such a way and how the how they develop it. Paano niya nade-develop yung ganong behavior sa loob ng lipunan kanyang ginagalawan. And lastly, is the question how a person or an individual survives in that culture or in that environment. Next up is the individuals, groups, and institutions. So, pinapakita lang nito na paano naaapektuhan ng institusyon yung individual. No? With that, paano naaapektuhan din ng institusyon yung kultura in general. Pinapakita rin nito paano uh, na-maintain ang kultura at paano ito nagpabago. And with all that knowledge, it helps the students uh, think of what their roles are within these institutions. The power, authority, and governance. No? It provides knowledge on the historical development of structures of power, authority, and governance, develops civil competence, impart ideas on what is power, its forms, how it's obtained, used, and justified. Yan, aaralin natin lahat yan. Kasama yan doon sa uh, pag-aaral natin ng Philippine politics and governance. Identifies what is legitimacy, provides ideas on what is government and governance, and gives us insight on how democracy protects individual rights. Next up is the production, distribution, and consumption. So, ang tinatanong nito ay ano yung ipoproduce? Yan yung una. Pangalawa, paano i-organize? Pangatlo, paano siya i-distribute o kakalat? At ano yung pinaka-efficiente, practical na paraan para i-allocate yung resources. Next up is the science and technology and society. Of course, it is about what is the importance of science and technology in this society. As part of its importance, it helps the students to understand how technology bring social change. Kasama rin dyan yung how we cope in this fast pace of innovations and discoveries. Next is it asks question on how the technology should be distributed to the majority. It brings forth the moral and conservative questions on how are we going to preserve the old values, traditions, and beliefs despite these technological advances. For the global connections, it gives us understanding about um, cultural cultural diversities and tensions between national interests and priorities. Global connections also addresses the issues like human rights, environments, um, competitions, interdependence, cultural minorities, and political and military alliances. And lastly, civic ideals and practices. Kasi tinutulungan nito yung mga estudyante para maging responsableng mga mamamayan. It asks questions about civic participation or involvement, and it provides the meaning of citizenship, gives us the idea between rights and responsibilities. Napaka-importante niyan. Hindi ka puro rights lang, meron kang gawain na dapat itulong sa lipunan. teaching the roles of citizenship as being a member of a community, a nation, and the world. And lastly, it nurtured the students on how to make a difference and contribute positively. Kung pagsasamahin natin lahat, maintindihan natin ang social science ay field of study na napakahalaga sa mga tao. Kasi binibigyan niya tayo ng malawak na pananaw paano nagkakaroon ng limitations yung mga buhay natin at paano natin may improve pa ito. Sabi nga ni Colander, dagdag niya pa, na ang isang mahusay na social scientist, hindi lang ito nakatingin sa bawat isang individual na discipline, kundi tinitingnan niya rin kung paano yung bawat discipline ay nagbuugnay-ugnay para maunawaan natin. Para ma-improve din natin yung kalagayan natin bilang mga tao sa loob ng isang lipunan. For social studies. Social studies is the integrated study of social studies and humanities to promote civic competencies.